Hi, I'm Maria from Maria Denmark Sewing. Today I'm going to show you how to use invisible elastic like this to make to stabilize a neckline when you're sewing a jersey dress such as the carrot dress. First we're going to have a look at what invisible elastic is. As you can see, it's see-through and it's a rubber thing that's stretchable. It comes in several widths and on rolls on these cardboard packages. I have one that is 5 millimeters and one that is about a centimeter wide, I think. So I'm going to show you, I have the gray paper so you can actually see the elastic. Before you start sewing with the elastic, roll out the amount you're going to need, about 80 centimeters or just under a yard, and pre-stretch it like I'm doing here by simply pulling the elastic. And this is important to how the elastic is going to behave once you've sewn it on, so it doesn't gather the fabric but just stabilizes it. So now you can just roll it back up on the roll on the cardboard, and I never cut the elastic before I sew it. I just sew it and then cut it afterwards. So here's the dress, and I've put it wrong side out, and this is the neckline of it. And here's my elastic. And I like to start sewing the elastic to center back, but this is purely a personal preference, and you can, start wherever you like. This is just what I do. And what I like to do is begin by having an extra piece of elastic that I'm not going to sew in, but this will help me hold the elastic in place when I start sewing. So I let about 10 centimeters, 4 inches go beyond the center back, and then just place one pin, and then I start sewing. And I'm using my serger here. I don't know if any of you say overlocker, but we do here. And you can use a sewing machine just as well. Just use a stretchable seam, a stretchable stitch. And once I've secured the elastic, I just trim off the extra bit, and I might as well take the thread as well. And what I'm doing while I'm sewing, I'm just holding the elastic. I'm not stretching it. I'm just keeping it taut, not stretching it, not letting it hang down, just keeping it taut. And then I just continue all the way around. And here you can see I want a slight overlap, and I'm just trimming the elastic there and finish sewing, so I'll have my overlap at center back. So there. Now I've come all the way around, and I just need to get it out of the machine. And if you're sewing on a sewing machine, you just lift your presser foot, but since I'm serging, I have to sew it out and then just trim it off at the end like that. And here you can see the elastic is it's not gathering the fabric because I didn't stretch the elastic. It's just stabilizing it and keeping it from stretching out of shape and growing. And now what I have to do is just fold over the seam allowances and stitch from the right side. And I start by just folding the seam allowances of the neckline under and pinning it. Just all the way around. And what is important is that it's the same width that you fold under, and that you're able to catch the seam allowance when you sew. I'm going to use a stretch seam on my sewing machine, and I just turned it up a bit. And you can use a stretch seam. It looks like that as I'm showing you, but you can use any stretch seam, or you could just use a zigzag but it needs to be able to stretch, because the neckline will stretch once you pull it over your head, on a jersey dress anyway. And then it's just to stitch from the right side, and I like to use the small notch on my presser foot there, and I like to use that to make sure that I have the same distance from the edge all the way around. That is that looks best. And once I've come all the way around, like that, I'm just going to secure the thread. And since I have a new sewing machine that has a clipping thing, I'm just doing that to show off. And here is the finished neckline. It needs to be pressed, so you need to take it to your pressing table and press it with some steam. But that's it. You'll have a pretty neckline without the hassle of facing.